Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at the top story that we are tracking for you. Israel has announced that it had readied plans against Iran to specifically counter Tehran's nuclear capabilities in the event of a political decision to target the Islamic Republic. Addressing a meeting organized by the Institute of National Security Studies, Chief of Staff General Aviv Kohavi has said that Israel's military has prepared several operational plans to counter Iran. Referring to Israel's government, General Kohavi has said that, and I quote, the power to initiate them lies with the political echelon. He added that offensive options needed to be prepared, readied and kept on the table. Listen in.
הנחיתי את צה"ל להכין מספר תוכניות אופרטיביות בנוסף לתוכניות שקיימות. מי שיחליט על הפעלתן הוא כמובן הדרג המדיני. אבל התוכניות האלה צריכות להיות על השולחן, קיימות, מוכנות ומתורגלות.
These comments by General Aviv Kohavi came as Israel and Iran both seek to put pressure on US President Joe Biden ahead of his expected announcement on his approach for dealing with the Iranian nuclear program. Iran, Israel's arch foe, has agreed in 2015 a deal on its nuclear program with Britain, China, France, Germany, Russia and the United States. The accord offered sanctions relief in exchange for curbs on Tehran's nuclear ambitions and guarantees it would not seek an atomic bomb. Iran maintains it has only pursued a civilian nuclear energy program. Israel always opposed the deal, and in 2018, then US President Donald Trump unilaterally pulled Washington out of it and reimposed crippling sanctions in a maximum pressure campaign against Tehran. In response, Iran has stepped back from the key nuclear commitments, leaving the deal hanging by a thread, even as new US President Joe Biden's administration has signaled it wants to salvage the agreement. Israeli authorities openly fear this eventuality. The army chief also said Israel had hit 500 targets in West Asia last year. The Jewish state has undertaken air and missile strikes against Syria since the latter civil war began in 2011, targeting Iranian forces and troops from the Lebanese movement Hezbollah, deployed in support of Damascus. Now we are being joined by Mir Javed Anfar, West Asia analyst from Tel Aviv, for more on this. Thank you for being with us. Now let's start with the fact that we do know that Biden's policy in this region will differ to that of his predecessor. But just how different will it be? What are we expecting from the Biden administration?
Well, to be honest with you, there's a lot of speculation. We're not really sure what Mr. Biden is going to do. On the one hand, there are reports that Mr. Biden intends to get back to the nuclear deal with Iran, but it's not clear whether he intends to get back immediately or whether he wants to include other issues regarding, such as Iran's missile program. It's really not clear. What we know is that he's not going to impose additional sanctions against Iran. That much is clear. However, the path forward is really open to a lot of speculation at this moment. We have to wait and see what Mr. Biden will do. And, also we have to wait and see what other things arrive on his in-trade, issues regarding China especially, and issues regarding COVID. That could also push back the Iran issue. So we really have to wait and see.
Right. Now, there is skepticism that this statement by Israel is meant as somewhat of a pressure tactic in order to pressurize the U.S. on its Iran policy.
It could, look, on the one hand, it could be a sign. You're right. On one hand, there's two possibilities. One of them is that, yes, in order to push the Americans to listen to Israel and to take Israeli concerns into account. On the other hand, this could also be a sign that, look, we in America, Israel and America are friends, but sometimes two very good friends and sometimes two members of the same family have different interests. And maybe it's a sign that Israel is preparing itself for the scenario of America returning to the nuclear deal without any changes, something which Israel considers as a danger, and that Israel may on its own be pressured to take responsibility. I'd like to remind you viewers that recently there have been unconfirmed reports that, according to foreign press, that Israel has taken and has undertaken a number of operations in Iran. So, this could be, this could be again a threat that look, if America wants to go its way, Israel will be left to defend itself, and it's going to consider the military option.
Right, we'll leave it there, Mir. Thank you very much for bringing us the latest.